Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our Facebook Live session hosted by the Mariposa Community Health Center here in Nogales, Arizona. My name is Eladio Pereira. I'm the Chief Medical Officer, and with me is my esteemed colleague, Dr. Phil Williams. Dr. Williams, welcome.
Thank you so much.
And today we want to talk about influenza and the vaccine. Very soon our temperatures will drop and we'll have the respiratory infection season. And we wanted to discuss briefly influenza and how we can protect each other. Some of you may know this, but we want to review that. Influenza is a disease caused by a virus, various strains, and it can be quite severe. Most people who've had actual influenza do remember that they had it. It's a disease manifested by very high fever, typically abrupt onset. A lot of people know exactly when they became sick. Chills, sore throat, cough, and profound muscle aches. It can be quite severe in the older patient, the immunocompromised, and in pregnancy. There is treatment available, but we always like to work on prevention, and the best way to reduce the risk of influenza is the vaccination. And we do have that available for the 2024-25 season, and we wanted to review some of the recommendations that became available through ACIP and CDC. And the vaccines for this coming respiratory season have antigens against influenza A and influenza B. It is recommended for those patients 6 months of age and older. And this year, all the vaccines are trivalent. They contain 2 antigens against A and 1 antigen against B. People ask us frequently about the timing. When should I get the vaccine? And what's recommended is usually around September, October. When given a little earlier, it loses some efficacy. So we do recommend September, October. Usually you develop antibody protection 1 to 2 weeks after vaccination is given. We know the vaccine is effective. It does reduce the risk of laboratory confirmed influenza. It reduces the complication rate, and some of those complications may not happen immediately, but may happen 1 to 2 weeks later due to cardiovascular complications and respiratory complications. And it also reduces the risk of death. Last season, 23-24, the data showed that there was a 52% reduction in risk of hospitalizations related to influenza. We do recommend the vaccine for older adults, in particular those 65 years of age and older, and we know that it reduces the risk of ischemic heart disease, hospitalization related to respiratory complications, and of course, death. We do have various vaccines available. We do recommend the high-dose vaccine for 65 years and older. I'm going to let Dr. Williams review the vaccines that are available, issues related to pregnancy, the immunocompromised host, and any other comments you'd like to make.
Of course. So just like you mentioned, the vaccine is recommended for everyone ages 6 months and above. And it's particularly, recommended in certain age groups. Pregnancy is one. Vaccinating pregnant women actually provides protection for babies, just because we can't vaccinate little babies until they're 6 months. So from that 0 to 6 month range, they need protection, and therefore vaccinating mom provides antibody protection also for babies. Particularly in those that are high risk, in pediatrics, especially kids with asthma, kids that are former preemies, is a particular group that we want to make sure that they are vaccinated. And then in addition to that, as you mentioned, there is a different vaccine. It's called the high-dose vaccine for those 65 and above.
Right. And a quick reminder that during pregnancy, we don't administer the live vaccine. Our patients can also get other vaccines during the same visit. And we're not going to talk about the COVID vaccine today, but you can get that vaccine and others at the time of your visit. And so we do recommend the influenza vaccine. Remember, the vaccine should be given to pediatric patients as well, those who are high risk. And Dr. Williams, can you come in briefly? You just touched on it, but if you could expand on the children who are at risk of severe influenza and its complications, and make sure that we work with our parents to vaccinate those children.
Of course, there's a few subgroups. So one, kids that have certain chronic illnesses. Cystic fibrosis is a classic example that can cause chronic lung disease. Those preemies, especially kids that are born before the age of 32 weeks, are particularly at high risk. And also, kids with asthma. Here in our area, it's very common for us to see kids with moderate to severe asthma. So that those groups in particular need to be vaccinated. Something else of note is that before, you may have heard with the association of people with egg allergy and the concerns of getting the influenza vaccine. That is no longer the case. Kids and adults that have egg allergies can now get the influenza vaccine.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. And also a quick reminder that our patients should ask about other vaccines at the time of the visit. We already mentioned the updated COVID vaccine, which we'll touch on during the next session, but also the RSV vaccine. Respiratory syncytial virus can be very severe in the older adults. We have that available, so we'll cover that during the next session. So.
Yeah. RSV also given to pregnant moms 32 to 36 weeks.
Yes, absolutely, to reduce the risk of severe disease. So the idea is that this vaccine offers protection, reduces the risk of not just the illness, but complications right after. So we ask that you get your influenza vaccine, particularly those at high risk. If you're not sure, consult with your provider. Ask about other vaccines that you may need at the time. A quick note as well is that we've seen cases of whooping cough, pertussis in our community. So if you have not had your booster, called Tdap, T-D-A-P, and the P stands for pertussis that you do, ask your provider about those. So mostly the respiratory infections. So. Exactly. With that, we're going to finish our session today. I hope it was useful. Please get your influenza vaccine. Thank you, Dr. Williams, for being here with me. Thank to Mariposa for supporting us, and of course, Edgardo and We Love Nogales. And we'll see you the next time. Thank you very much.